The following show contains adult content. It's not our intent to offend anyone, but we want to inform you that if you are a child under the age of 18 or get offended easily, this next show may not be for you. The content, opinions, and subject matter of these shows are solely the choice of your show hosts and their guests, and not those of the Entertainment Network or any affiliated stations. Any comments or inquiries should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for listening.
Hey everyone, and welcome to 50 Shades of Bullshit. I'm your host, Christine Lalonde, and this is the podcast where we uncover the truth about online dating. Now let's begin.
Hey everybody, this is 50 Shades of Bullshit, and I'm Christine, your host, and we want to say Happy New Year! Today is the first day of 2026. Welcome. And I've got matchmaker May back with us today. Hi, May.
Hello.
We are excited because we did a really great episode last week for what men secretly want in a wife. And we decided that on New Year's, we were going to celebrate women and what they secretly want in a husband. Now, what we're talking about can relate to anybody, any culture, anybody, anywhere. But really, May is a matchmaker for Asian people, and actually for any culture who's looking for an Asian wife. Is that right, May?
Yes. Men
Awesome.
of all ethnicities looking for Asian women.
Wonderful. So though we are talking a lot about the Asian culture, we hope that you can relate to what we are saying. Basically, what we've been talking about is, communication and understanding, what each person's giving in the role of a husband or a wife. And is that not right, May?
Yeah, I mean, we talked a lot about what men want in a wife, but what do women really want in a husband? So not like the surface level stuff like height or money. I'm talking about what makes a woman feel safe, seen, and adored long term. So that's kind of what we'll talk about today.
I like those key words: safe, seen, and adored. I think every woman should be safe, seen, and adored. Because we all crave it, we all need it. And if you say you don't want or need those things, you're nuts. Because I think every woman wants to be adored by their person or seen or feel safe. I don't think that we live in safe times as it is,
Yeah.
It's crazy. But today we're talking about the 10 secrets that are 10 things that women secretly want in a husband. And I think that is very cool because, a lot of times women are just, told how to be. And in the past, especially, don't you think that women are just expected to be a specific way and seen, not heard, basically? And we are changing those times as each generation goes on. We want to be seen more. We want to be heard more. But, we're talking about people who are in a marriage or going into a marriage who want to be understood and who want to be able to communicate and have a relationship that is symbiotic,
Yeah, for sure.
So May, tell us again, let's tell all of our guests, our listeners today, as a guest, what is your matchmaking like? What is your company strive to do, and why are you here?
My company started in 2009. It's called Two Asian Matchmakers, and I started out of Los Angeles, California, and right now we are nationwide. I help men of all ethnicities who want to date Asian women and find an Asian partner. So it could be men ages 35 to 75, but my sweet spot is really 35 to 65 usually. And it could be men who want to date Asian women in the US, all across Asia. So it just depends on where they want me to help them find an Asian woman, and that's what I do. I leave no stone unturned, and I recruit for them, hunt for them, and pursue them and find them a nice partner.
Nice.
Yeah.
Last week we talked a lot about, what men wanted, and we talked a little bit about how it's different sometimes between an Asian culture and other cultures, because a lot of Asian women are really, I think, especially in the past, were taught to be subservient to their spouses, and I just think that that tends to change a little bit more now. I you were saying that men wanted peace when they come home, and I gotta say that I thought a lot about that when we were talking about it, because I dated an Asian man whose mother is Chinese, and boy, that woman was not peaceful at all. I remember one time I said, "Why does your family always sound like they're screaming at each other when they're talking to each other in their language?" And he said, "Because they are. That's all they do is yell at each other." And I don't think all Asian cultures are like that. I just do tend to believe that Chinese culture tends to be a lot more aggressive, and women tend to be a lot more domineering in that culture. Do you find that?
I find that Chinese women and men, yes, they sound like they're arguing when they're just trying to figure out what to order at a dim sum restaurant. So a lot of times it sounds very loud, and they just, yeah, Cantonese especially sounds more aggressive than Mandarin. I think Mandarin sounds more peaceful and flowy, but the Japanese people, I feel like, are very soft and very
Soft.
courteous, and Koreans sound like they're very aggressive too. So it really depends. And then the Filipinos, they're more softer. So it just really depends on which culture. And obviously that's my stereotypes on the different cultures based on my experience
Yeah.
dealing with other people. I'm Chinese, and sometimes I think Chinese people are kind of rude, when you're like at, KFC in Hong Kong, and people are just standing right next to you waiting for the table for you to leave. Like there's no personal space. And
Yeah.
yeah. And my parents used to always give my friends nicknames. Like they don't even care to learn their real names. They find one characteristic about a friend, and then they like use that, like, "Oh, your friend who has big nose, like, how are they doing?" Like, yeah. Yeah.
Big nose friend.
Yeah. Yeah. Big nose friend. Like, yeah.
That's hilarious. Yeah, the different cultures are very interesting. I think that even though it's 2026 today, I still think that there are a lot of traditions in the mother countries of the Asian cultures. I think there still are a lot of tradition, but I do see, especially the younger generations growing up in a more open-minded, modern kind of lifestyle, I
Yeah.
think. Am I right, or
Well, it
do you
also
think that's
depends
different?
on the Asian American kids are different than the people who came over from Asia, where they were born there and they came over to go to college or get their master's degree. So there's Asian Americans and there's Asians, right? From Asia.
Right.
So that differs. And then once you're here, who you hang out with matters too. Who you socialize with, who you're friends with, what do you learn, what TV shows you're watching, even that makes an impact on
Yeah.
who they are and how they act in the US.
Yeah, I think that it's really interesting to talk about different types of cultures when it comes to dating and marriage and matchmaking. I had a client about a month or so ago, and she was Vietnamese, and the groom was Korean, and she was trying to honor the Korean traditional tea ceremony, and that was chaos all in itself, because it was only about what the groom's mom wanted,
Mhm. Yeah.
which is interesting because it's not like that in American weddings. That's what they were, skipping. Um, but they were doing more of a American Vietnamese kind of blend for their reception. But there was a family member from the bride's side of the family who told somebody to go ahead and do something, which was bring the pig in to the house, the roasted pig, and it's supposed to come last, and nobody knew except for the mom of the groom,
Mm.
and
Mhm.
she saw it, and they said, get it out, get it out. It's like freaking out, and none of us knew it was even there. The uncle told him to bring it in, and then we whisked it back out the back door and back around the house, to prepare to bring it in when it was supposed to be brought in. Though nobody saw, I said to the bride later at the reception the next day, she was complaining about it, and I said, well, honey, at least in it soon she'll forget about it and you'll all be fine. And she goes, no, Christine, she's Asian, she will never forget. And I said, well, she is older, so maybe she won't be around forever. And she
Wow.
said, no, Christine, she's Asian, she's going to live
Live
forever.
forever.
I thought, damn, she's right. She is absolutely right. So it's funny, and I love all the different traditions and all the different cultures. It's very interesting and it's a lot of fun. So I'm very excited to talk to you today about the 10 things that women secretly want from their husbands, and I'm dying to hear what these are. And let's get started.
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, I mean, with anybody, right? The women are looking for emotional safety. Women crave emotional stability more than status. So when a man can stay calm during conflict, it builds trust and attraction. So who doesn't love when your spouse and you are arguing and that each party talks about it calmly and in a mature way, and just for you to talk about how you feel and what you're thinking, but yet he's just listening without trying to fix it, right? We've all heard that, where a man just tries to
Right.
fix everything. When you present a situation about you and your friends, maybe you're not getting along, and he's like trying to find the answer to fix it. But you just don't need him to fix it. You want him to maybe ask questions and for him to be like, yeah, I totally know what you're saying, and to side with you. I think when my husband and I fight about something, about some random thing that maybe he doesn't normally agree with me, it'd be nice if he just sides with me. Like, yeah, I know what you're thinking. Yeah, that's a bummer. I'm sorry that happened. Like,
Right.
those words would make the situation better, instead of him saying, well, you probably shouldn't have done that, right? Like, that wasn't the right thing to do. Like, don't argue against me, like, just side with
Right.
me. Yeah.
Right. How do you think is the best way to approach that? Do you think it's smart for a woman to go into a conversation saying, listen, something is driving me crazy or pissing me off about this situation. I don't need a solution, but maybe I need to just vent and talk it out. Are you willing to hear me? Do you
I
think that is
wonder
maybe?
I wonder if we did that to the men in our lives,
Uh
if
huh.
they'd be like, "Oh, okay." And then you tell them once and maybe they learn for the next time. I don't know. That's a good test. Maybe we should
I'm going
do
to try.
a case study with that and report back.
Right. Maybe I'll have to figure out a way to do that because, men are natural born fixers.
Yeah.
And women are too. Women like to make things better and fix it, and but maybe if we approached a situation where I'm like, you have to say, I don't need a solution, I just need to vent.
Yeah.
And then with the venting, most of the time for me, I can come up with a solution, and therefore also, or also, the person I'm venting to will have a conversation with me, and we flush it out. Maybe that will help. Well, I'm going to check into that and see if I can do a study, because that's actually quite interesting.
Yeah.
I wonder
Yeah.
if that would work.
The second thing on my list is consistent communication. I feel like when I was dating my husband, I felt so secure in our dating place that I wasn't checking my phone to see if he texted. I wasn't checking my phone to see if he called. It just felt easy. So for him to communicate with me consistently, it made me feel secure in the relationship. It wasn't like the other guys I've dated where I wondered if they liked me and to call me and text me. So I think women in general just wants a man who's consistent with their words and their actions. If they say, you know what, I'm going to call you after I get off work, and they do call you when they get off work, so you can rely on that and know it's going to happen. And just having him check in with me like, hey, I'm heading home right now. Okay. Just so I know where he's at, what he's doing, for him to keep in touch with me without me feeling like, does he like me? Does he like want to see me? Like, just that feeling is a good feeling. So if a man out there is listening, that's what women want, like consistency. Like, don't be love bombing me for a week and then disappear for 2 days. Like, that's not consistent. That's going to raise huge red flags.
It's gonna offset a woman's nervous system too.
Yeah.
I also think that, what comes, I'm stumbling here because my mind is thinking 20 different directions. Like, I remember when a friend of mine used to call me all the time and cry or talk about what her dating life was like. And she talked about the inconsistencies with men. And I remember thinking how sad it was that she was so insecure within herself, that I felt like, when a woman feels really secure within her own space, it doesn't matter if the guy is constantly calling or texting. But I do agree with you that when you're in a situation where especially when you're getting to know someone, or you're in a solid relationship, consistency with communication, I think, is vital. And talking about that, I think, is really important. Like, oh, if we're not together, I love being texted in the morning so I know that you're thinking about me. And I love being texted before we go to bed, or call before we go to bed to wrap the day. Or just maybe when I pop into your head, you text me during the day saying I was thinking about you. And if he doesn't, then maybe that causes women to think, maybe he's not thinking about me, or maybe I'm not on his mind. That can wreck with someone's, nervous system, to always wonder.
Yeah, it can.
Yeah.
It can. I mean, the smartest thing to do is to mirror someone's communication style, right? If they call you, then you're like, oh, they like phone calls. Maybe I'll call him down the road or 2 days later or whatever. It's like giving your partner permission to call you. Or if they are very good at texting, then you can let people know, like, hey, I prefer text over a phone call. Like, however you choose to communicate, as long as you talk about it, right? Or what if that person likes emails? Or what if that person just wants phone calls? I mean, nowadays, I feel like the younger generation are just texting so much that if you want to stand out while you're dating as a guy, just friggin' pick up the phone and call her. That's going to make you stand out and be like, oh, wow, you're mature enough to be confident enough to say something to me on the phone and to carry a conversation. So texting should be only used to make plans for when you're going to meet up next. It's not to text back and forth and carry conversations, paragraphs and paragraphs. Like, if you're going to be texting that much, you might as well pick up the phone and call her.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed, because there's so much that can be misinterpreted with texting. Tones.
Yeah.
I remember somebody saying one time, watch your tone. And I was like, what tone are you talking about? I just said hi. It wasn't that simple, but it's very simple to miscommunicate what somebody intends.
Yeah.
Someone be flirting, and it could come across as aggressive, or something could be aggressive in the tone, and it could be just an off the wall funny joke. Jokes fall flat. It's important to, I think, verbally communicate. I think nowadays with video chatting, it's even very important to do video chatting to understand what someone's facial expressions are and what their body language is. That's important.
I agree. I agree. I mean, along the lines of talking, we are moving on to number 3, emotional depth. Like, yes,
Mm,
you can hop on the phone with the guy that you're seeing and you could talk about the events in your day. However, women would like it if he would say something like, gosh, my friend just got laid off today. I feel so bad. I mean, he just was such a good friend and he knew so much and he was such a big part of my career. He was helping me move up in the corporate ladder. Like, just talk about your feelings, how that made you feel, and not just list the facts of your day. That's how women feel connected to men. We like to talk about things, right? Like
right.
women, we just love to talk. That's how we live longer because we have all these people that we're connecting with, and men just only have a bubble with their wives usually, and they don't really connect on that emotional level with other people.
Right.
So connecting emotionally is great. I mean, you got to learn the emotional vocabulary, talk about how you felt, not just like what happened in life. And
Mm.
women would connect with you that way.
Vulnerability is a very big one. I think that,
Yeah.
and it's not just in dating, courtship, engagement. Vulnerability, I think, needs to still happen when you're married. I think a lot of, and I'm not, I'm generalizing, okay? When I'm generalizing in this way, it's important that we know that a lot of men step up when it comes to dating and courtship and engagement because they need to get the girl. They want to keep the girl, and then they get married and it's like, okay, there we go. Now I just need to go to work and bring home the bacon and let her fry it in the pan. But that's not really what it's about. I think that communication and vulnerability is still very vital in an actual long-term relationship and marriage. Without it,
Yeah.
how can you stay connected?
Yeah. Yeah. Very true. Very true. Now, how many times do you talk to women about their dating lives and they're like, I just want a man who leads. I want him to take control. I want him to,
A lot.
yeah. Women love that. They want a man who can lead, meaning, of course, with collaboration from you and get your point of view. Like if you
Right.
like Thai food or Chinese food or Greek food, that they know that's what you like, but go ahead and make plans, make decisions, value her input, but say, you know what, we're going to go out to dinner on Friday. I'm going to take you to this great Mediterranean place because I know you love Mediterranean food. So our reservation's at 7. I'm going to pick you up at 6:30. Is that all right? Like she loves
Yeah,
that. She loves the fact that
absolutely.
A, you made plans, you made reservations, you took into consideration of where she would like to eat, but yet you told her on a Monday and you're going out on a Friday. So you know what? She has 4 or 5 days to get excited about the date and to tell other people she's going on a date with this great guy that made reservations at this Mediterranean place. Like
I know it's a very
that is
simple
your
thing.
way to gain brownie
Yeah.
points with her coworkers and her mom and her sisters, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's important in a long-term relationship too. Say you're living together, say you're married. If you tend to forget that those little things make her feel extremely special, if you're forgetting that, she's going to start to not feel special, not feel valued, not be looked at like she's a desirable woman. And I'm not saying that as a woman we are needing that from somewhere outside of our relationship, but sometimes other men see it and will give it to a woman, and that can cause a real rift in a real relationship because then all of a sudden she's feeling that, not thinking that she's seeking it out,
Yeah.
but she's getting that attention from somewhere else. It should be coming from her person.
Yeah.
And I just think that men need to remember that their women, their wives, their spouses, or whatever, are needing that from them, and they get forgotten. So
Yeah.
I think it's important to remember that.
And number 5, if you're going to make plans with her, you follow through. You're dependable, you're reliable. So if you're the guy that makes plans to go to the farmer's market on Saturday and you mention that and she's excited to go, come Saturday morning, you're following through on that. You're not just saying it and then like flake out and come up with an excuse because you're hungover from Friday night. Like you need to follow through. If you say, oh, I'm going to dump the trash, then you dump the trash that day. You don't just have her feel a need to nag you to do it again and again and again. So, I mean, it sounds simple, but sometimes I think we just forget to be dependable and forget that our words are golden.
They really are. You know, I don't think that a woman necessarily wants to nag a man. We don't want to be nagging, but we also need somebody to know that why should we have to remind you over and over and over to do the simplest thing when you said you were going to frickin' do it? You know, I just don't, I think that it makes women feel devalued, and like it's not important to them, so therefore, you know, it just doesn't matter. But it does matter. And you know, if you want, here's my best advice: if a man doesn't want a woman to nag him about fucking doing something, then do it when you say you're gonna do it, period.
Yeah.
And then we'll shut up. I mean, that's how easy that is.
Right.
You'll probably get a better blowjob that night. I mean, honestly, don't you think, May? I mean, he takes the trash out when he says he's going to take the trash out and doesn't make you have to say it 20 times. I guarantee sex is going to be better that night.
I mean, speaking of sex, like the next topic would be romance and effort. So we talked about how men usually they want physical touch and affection. That's one of their top love languages.
Right.
And what women probably would say is like, dude, if you would just clean the house or vacuum the place or give the dogs a bath or whatever miscellaneous duties that she normally does around the house, if you help with it,
the load,
you would actually get more action that way. So, I mean, women don't outgrow romance. They just get tired of begging for it, and thoughtful gestures like notes, flowers, or plans that show intention with the woman. I mean, that never goes out of style. Women love that, right? Like there's not one woman out there. I'm not even talking about flowers and notes and, you know, cards, but just gestures of being thoughtful. Every woman wants that. Gay or straight, lesbian, whatever, like everyone likes thoughtful gestures from their sig others.
They do. You know, when I was married to my youngest daughter's dad, this is like, I don't know, 17 years ago. He used to say, what can I do to make things better for you? Because you seem to be upset about, you know, whatever. And I said, well, I like to feel like I'm desired.
Yeah.
And, you know, maybe if I'm doing the dishes that you come up and whisper in my ear and grab my booty and say, I can't wait to tap this later. I mean, that's going to make me finish the dishes, take a shower, get all cute and be ready in bed in a negligee. You know what I mean? It's like walk by me and grab my tushy and say, boy, that's a fine ass. I can't wait to get it later. You're going to get it later. I'm not going to say I'm tired. I'm not going to say, you know, I need to wash my hair, which I never did to say that. But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like when he would say, okay, spell it out for me. And I would spell it out. I'd say simple. Grab my ass, whisper in my ear, say something sexy, make me feel freaking desired.
Yeah.
And he'd say, oh, okay, I'll try to do that. And I knew then that was the end of our marriage. I knew he wasn't going to try shit.
But did you try it though? Did you do stuff like that to him?
Time.
Yeah. Yeah.
all the time. Yeah, because my thought of thinking was if I show him what it's like, then he'll pick it up and do it back to me. But it didn't work that way.
Yeah.
He was having an affair anyway. He was giving it to somebody else. So that's when I knew when he said, "Oh, I'll try to do that." Well, if a man's got to try to
Right.
be sexy with you or to show you affection, then we know what's happening. But
Yeah.
yes, it is very true. Women just want a little bit of, being felt like they're desired and
Yeah.
loved.
Very true.
Yeah.
Very true. So number 7 for women like men who are ambitious,
Mhm.
but yet balanced. Like they don't want a man who is a workaholic, but drive is attractive. Women like
Very.
men who are not lazy,
Yep.
someone who has goals, someone who can show her that he can potentially provide or be the man in the relationship.
Mhm.
So that's all very sexy. The
Very sexy.
ambition part, being ambitious and
Mhm. Mhm.
yeah.
I mean, even if someone say is retired, I've met men who have retired early in their 40s.
Mhm.
Um, and that's great, but at least have, hobbies that you love and things that you do, like working on the cars or
Yeah.
something that gives that kind of masculine energy that you have something other than sitting on your ass watching golf or going playing golf every weekend. Something more than that, it's hot and it turns women on, and men are always complaining that women aren't putting enough sexual drive into the relationship. Well, it goes both ways,
Yeah.
and I think that it's forgotten that it goes both ways.
Yeah. For
Yeah.
sure. For sure.
Mhm.
Number 8 is partnership mentality. Women want a teammate, if you will, someone who shares the load, not someone that they have to mother. Meaning,
Mm,
if
mhm.
she's doing dishes, it'd be nice if he offered to help and be like, oh, let me put the dishes away. Or if she is starting the dishes, he comes over and clears the table and starts wiping stuff down or just helping around,
Teamwork.
not like 50% of all the duties and keeping track of who's doing what, but just
Right.
lift a finger, like dump the trash and make things easier for her and have the mentality of how can I make your week easier? How can I take something off your plate? And just be helpful, thoughtful.
Yeah. Yeah. I know that, when you were talking about a traditional relationship in the sense of the man is out of the house working and the woman is in the house working, it doesn't mean that there's a fine line dividing it, that he only does, out of the house stuff and the wife only does in the house stuff. It really is a crossover,
Yeah.
being home in your home. I think men don't stop to realize sometimes that it's not all her job to do everything in the house for the kids and the house. The children are still part of it, is part of the man.
Yeah.
He still needs to be a father, and there's still things that they should do together. And that means, you know, like you said, helping with clearing the table or making things just a little bit freaking easier.
Yeah, you said helping with the kids. Maybe the next thing is gentle masculinity. Strength is sexy, gentleness
Mhm.
makes it sustainable. Be protective, not possessive, firm but kind. So, if we're talking about what women want, like I think it's great that men are great dads to kids, read to the kids, run errands with the kids, not just let the lady, the mom, the woman of the house do it, but just pick up some of the slack. Like, just how cute is it when you're out and about at a grocery store and you see a man interact with little kids. Like, that is so sexy. That is so
It
cute.
is.
And for a guy to hang out with his nieces and nephews, like all that stuff, people should be talking about on their online dating profiles if they don't have kids, but they're a great uncle to nieces and nephews. Like, write that stuff down. Like, women want to
Oh,
see that
absolutely.
side of the man, right? So,
Yeah, the nurturing,
yeah,
the parental kind of, feel, you
figure.
know, not very many. There are some men that don't do that, and it tends to, like you said, when a woman sees a man out in like the wild with their kids and they're good dads, it it does make a woman be very attractive to that kind of situation because a lot of times, women grow up with not without dads like that. They don't grow up with dads like that. We're looking for men to be that nurturing, loving, dependable person.
I mean, look at how many likes or hits or winks a man gets if he just poses with a dog, with like it just shows that he has that nurturing side, that loving side. He could very well tell his dog that he loves him or her.
Right.
And for a woman to see a guy out and about with a dog, small dog, big dog, whatever, just with a dog, like it just brings out a different side of him that she sees that, oh, wow, he might be good with kids, or wow, that is so sexy how he's so sweet to that dog. Like, those are all great things. Like, if you have a dog, you should be out and about with your dog and attracting women who like that. Such a chick
Yes.
magnet, dogs.
Yeah. Dogs and kids are very chick magnety.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I mean, so when I was in New Orleans, I had this small dog and I was at a Mardi Gras parade and I told my husband to watch the dog. He was my boyfriend at the time. And I said, "Hey, can you watch the dog while I run and, go to the restroom or something?" So he had this little Italian greyhound, probably 9 pounds, and he is this guy that's 6'1", and he just had this small dog on the leash. And when I came back, he was talking to these girls and he's like, wow, this dog's a chick magnet. Like, these girls were talking to me asking about the dog, but once I told them that this dog is my girlfriend's dog, then they just took off. Like,
Yeah.
it was a reason for them to approach him, to talk to him. So I'm telling you guys, man, if you have a dog, just bring him out and it's a total chick magnet. Like, women would just go crazy asking you questions about the dog, and that's like an easy opening line to flirt with her.
Yeah, they want that nurturing man. They
Yes.
want the man who's giving to something else, providing for something else, making sure something else is taken care of. That's a lot of responsibility to
Yeah.
have an animal. And it is attractive to women to see that men can be in that position.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Last but not least, we're talking about affirmation and reassurance. Like, women don't want to guess how you feel about them. If you're going on a date and you like her, let her know, like, wow, I had a really great time. I would love to do this again. You just was so great at conversation and I loved learning about you. There's nothing wrong with telling a woman how you feel, and just practice verbalizing admiration and appreciation for her. She'll love it. If you're in a relationship, you can say stuff like, man, I love the way you do this and that, or I'm so lucky to have you in my life. Like, women appreciate reassurance and not having to guess if their boyfriend or partner that they're seeing likes them or not. So it's simple. It's easy to make her feel emotionally safe and deeply connected with you just by letting her know verbally.
Yeah. I agree. I also think that there are, ways of letting a woman know emotionally and physically too. Just, small touches, knowing that her favorite, candy is this and grabbing that once in a while and just leaving it for her,
Yeah.
or just, you get up early and you don't, have interaction in the morning. It's nice to like find a note that your spouse is or your significant other is like, oh, I'm going to be thinking about you today. You look so beautiful sleeping. I didn't want to disturb you, but just the smallest little gestures are really important. And I think women really crave that. We don't get a lot of nurturing and guidance. We are always expected to be a certain way, but we're not getting a lot in return a lot of the times. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think consistency is romance. And if a guy is consistent with how he acts and how he treats you,
Yeah.
that stuff is all very, very much appreciated for a woman. And I think as we get older, I probably didn't appreciate that in my 20s or 30s, maybe 40s, but certainly now in my 50s, I'm so appreciative of the little things that really truly matter. And I know we did the talk about what men want. I mean, men are kind of simple, and you can go back and listen to the other podcast, but men just want, in my opinion, sex, food, and appreciation. Like that's in a nutshell, right? We could probably finish that podcast in like 3 minutes by just talking about
Exactly.
those 3 things. Yeah, and women, we kind of want the same thing in a different way. So, yeah.
Yeah, I do think that when it comes to women and men say, how last week we talked about, what was it? Men just wanted to be appreciated and told thank you for
Mhm.
things, to know that what they're doing for them is valuable. I think
Yeah.
women want that too. I mean,
Yeah.
we may not be buying dinners or paying for the trips and stuff, but there are a lot of things that women do on the daily for men that feel like it goes unappreciated.
Yeah.
And if a man just took a minute to just stop and appreciate the little things that a woman does, it goes a lot further than what they think. And you just said that men want to have sex, but a woman's libido decreases as she ages because of her hormonal balance and changes, but it doesn't stop. If we're not getting appreciation and feel like we're desired and feel like that we're wanted, it depreciates that.
Yeah.
And it makes it harder for us to feel like we want to have sex with our spouses or our husbands or boyfriends, when it's like we're fucking being ignored and we're not being told thank you for all the millions of shit
Yeah.
that we do in a day, and then you want us to just strip naked and hop in the bed and have sex. Well, it goes both ways. We need to be appreciated in little ways too. And like, I remember every time I went to my boyfriend's house this one time, he was the biggest freaking slob. Him and his kids were slobs. And I would come in and I would clean up for them. And nobody ever said anything to me.
Yeah.
Like, thank you for that. Oh, what the fuck? Well, I didn't have to. I didn't, but I needed to, because I couldn't be in the space with it that gross. But a little thank you would have meant a lot more, especially heading into the quickie they wanted to have, or the marathon sex that they wanted to have. Little things go a long way. It turns a woman's libido on when she's being appreciated, when she's felt like she's desired, when she feels like the things that she's doing to keep the house together is being appreciated.
Yeah.
Just little thank yous. I mean, it's not like you have to gush over them constantly, but put your arms around her from behind, kiss her on the neck, tell her how freaking beautiful she is. I guarantee she just got wet and you're about to get it. I mean, seriously. I mean, and it's not
Yeah.
thought about. So
Right.
I think those
Yeah.
things are important.
Yeah. No, I mean, for sure. I'm curious that obviously this is from a woman's point of view, thinking what men want and what women want. But I would love to hear what a guy would say doing the same show, same topic with a male guest
Right.
and see what he says. What 10
I might
things
do
do
that.
women want and what 10 things do men want? Maybe for Valentine's Day or something. So,
That's a great idea. I might do that. I have a few I have some male perspective
yeah,
men who come on here a lot and talk about different things. I think I might do that and see
yeah,
what 10 things they think
right,
men want from a woman and 10 things women want and see if it varies at all because
right.
I think honestly you're right on the money when it comes to those things on both sides. Whether we're women or not, I think women are very perceptive. I think that we tend to be a lot more empathic. We're a lot more emotionally invested than men.
Mhm.
I know that there are men out there who get emotionally invested, which is amazing. But
Yeah,
I think that men think that being emotional or being vulnerable is a feminine thing. Yeah, but men are supposed to have both feminine and masculine, the same as women. Women are masculine and feminine. We have a equal parts, and if we're not honoring both sides, then we're really doing a disservice for ourselves. Men
yeah.
are doing a disservice for themselves if they're not investing emotionally. And I think that women are very perceptive to that.
So, you know how last week we talked about what men wanted, and it was more, I feel like it was very almost Asian focused
Mhm.
last week, but this is what all women want. This is
Right.
what, no matter what ethnicity you are, or if you
Mhm.
came from Asia or you were born here in the
Mhm.
US, like these are very standard things that women are seeking, I feel like. At least
Yeah,
that's what I'm looking for. So, yeah,
absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah, I think that it doesn't matter what culture a woman is. She needs to be desired and loved and felt safe and felt protected and feel like she's valued in the relationship. The value in the relationship is very, very important.
yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. This was fun. Thank you so much.
This is always fun with you. I'm so glad we did two in a row. A lot of times I say to people, "Oh, let's do part two," and then it's like months go by because
Yeah.
I'm already booked. But I was really excited to get you 2 weeks in a row because I think that this is important, especially coming off the back of what we were talking about last week of what
Yeah.
men value and want. I think it's important to see both sides of a coin and just to remember that we are on the same coin. You know, it's male and female, masculine, feminine, that we all encompass that. And as people, we're more well rounded
Yeah.
when we can tap into both.
Yeah. I love it.
And,
I love it.
yeah, a lot of women I think are need a provider, do need someone to do that for them. Not all women. I think a lot of women are capable of. I think every woman is capable of taking care of herself.
Yeah.
But when you want to be in a relationship, and that's what we're talking about today, when you want to be in a relationship, you have to think about what the other person's needs are. And you're not just in the relationship for yourself, you also have to be in the relationship for the other person. If you're not thinking about what their needs are as well as your own, then you have no business being in a relationship. My
I
own personal take.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. No, it's good that as we're talking about this, it makes me think, gosh, let me take these 10 things back to my partnership with my husband and let me be better at this because
Hmm.
that's what he wants too, right? So you can always
Yes.
be better in your relationships, even though you have the most happiest of marriages or partnerships, but you can always do better.
You can, because I think sometimes we tend to forget what we
Yeah.
need to invest when we're in something because it's so great. And all of a sudden, the other person may be thinking, I'm not getting this from this person anymore. Does that mean that the relationship isn't any good anymore? And then when you're in a position where somebody is actually getting attention because they have their dog out and they're getting all this female attention, and then they go home and go, oh, I'm not getting the same attention at home, that can cause problems.
Yeah.
That's a real point to think about, is
Yeah.
invest in your own. That's it's very important to invest in your own relationships.
Yes.
Well, time has flown. Thank you so much for being here again, May. I am so happy that I could get you on 2 weeks in a row. It's been amazing. Thank you. And one more time, tell everybody how they can find you.
Yes, if there's women out there, Asian women that are looking for a great guy, please find me at 2asianmatchmakers.com. That's TWO, Asian Matchmakers with an S.com, and fill out a profile with me. It's free. And all the men I have are my paying clients. And men, if you're looking for a lovely Asian woman, I would love to work with you as well. So check me out. Thank you.
I love it. Check May out. She's amazing. And thank you, everyone, for coming again this week. Same time, same place. We have an exciting episode next week. Come back and see us. And until then, let's just keep this shit real.
If you enjoyed this episode, please share with your friends, like and follow us on Instagram at 50shades_bullshit and Facebook at 50 Shades of Bullshit. Thanks so much for listening, and we really hope to see you again next week.